Hello. Today's stories come from r/am I the jerk. We have 4 funny stories. At least I think they're funny. Perhaps ridiculous might be a better word, but I will let you be the judge. Our first OP got laughed out of just about everywhere, then promptly got laughed off Reddit as well. Our first story is titled, Am I the Jerk for Demanding a Refund on Drinks I Bought a Stripper? I regularly visit a gentleman's club in my area, and for the past few months, I've been seeing one particular dancer, Tiffany, not her real name. In addition to tipping her and getting dances, I buy Tiffany at least one drink every shift. She always requests the same, a screwdriver made with a certain brand of vodka. A while back, I went in and Tiffany sat with me as usual. I ordered Tiffany's drink from the barmaid and got one for myself as well. But when I sipped it, I didn't taste any alcohol at all, despite having seen the barmaid pour from the same bottle she used to make Tiffany's drink. Tiffany excused herself to freshen up, and after the barmaid walked away, I grabbed the bottle and poured some in an empty glass. As suspected, it wasn't vodka, but plain water. When Tiffany came back, I asked if we could go in the back for a dance. When she sat on my lap, I asked her about the fake vodka. I told her I knew it was really water. She tried to tell me it was a one-time thing because she's visiting her sick grandma tomorrow and doesn't want to be too hungover. I pressed her and asked her if she'd been getting water shots the entire time we've been seeing each other. She finally admitted that she's a Mormon and doesn't drink alcohol at all. I admit that I got pretty upset about how she lied, so she called a bouncer and I got kicked out. When I tried to go back, I was told that I've been permanently barred from the club. I told him I wanted to speak to a manager and he threatened to kick my behind into next bleeping week if I didn't leave. I went home and called the club, and the manager answered. I told him I was basically frauded, that I wouldn't demand my money back for the aborted lap dance, but I wanted a refund on every drink I was tricked into buying for Tiffany. I've been seeing her every Friday and Saturday, plus a few other weeknights from time to time. So, even assuming I only bought her 2 drinks on Fridays and Saturdays, that puts me at 2 drinks times 2 nights a week times 20 weeks, 80 drinks. Every screwdriver is $12, so that puts me at $960 spent on nothing but orange juice and water. He called me a yutz and hung up. But they haven't heard the end of this. Am I the jerk? Oh my gosh, I'm not sure OP is a jerk here, but he's clearly delusional. It sounds like he thinks he was dating a Mormon stripper because he was buying her drinks. Seriously? How awkward for poor Tiffany. Let's head over to the comments where the comedy continues. Clizzy said, Not her real name. Neither was the one she gave you, OP. Every conversation added, Yep, you got your stage name, your fake name, and your real name that you will never tell anyone. I Am Hurting Cat said, I called the police station and they told me there's no law against what the club did. But if I complain enough, they might make one and name it after me. That would be embarrassing. I'm dying. Even the cops are laughing at him. My sister was a stripper for years. It's not easy to get permabanned from most strip clubs. You really have to be getting belligerent. It's just Mo said, Seeing each other? Bro, you're paying her to do a job. There is literally no relationship there at all. And that should be pretty obvious based on the fact that he is paying her for companionship. I feel zero empathy for tool bags who think they're seeing a woman who's just doing her job. I Am Hurting Cats replied, Right? I see a barista several times a week and she's super nice to me because it's her job. Space Caterpillar added, I'm seeing several soda vendors 4 to 5 days a week. Related to Arhino said, Sounds like it's getting serious. Space Caterpillar replied, It's okay. They see each other on the side. They even go to other stores without me. Speaking of getting laughed off Reddit, we have story 2. Am I the jerk for making a post about my daughter's favorite celebrity being rude to us? My daughter and I were recently on vacation. We spent the day in an area that's known to have a lot of rich and famous people. Towards the end of the day, we saw one of my daughter's favorite celebrities, we'll call her A, walking out of a store. My daughter ran to the store, but when she got near A, she was stopped by A's security. They said that A's there with her daughter for her daughter's birthday and wants to focus on her daughter. My daughter was very upset because she's been a fan of A for a very long time. So she tried again for a picture but was turned away. My daughter was crushed. So later that night, I made a post talking about my experience with A. how she wouldn't let anyone go near her and her daughter, the fact that her security was rude, and her not being willing to stop for a couple seconds for a picture. I understand it's her daughter's birthday, but a 1 minute interaction with a fan isn't going to ruin her day. If it does, that girl needs to learn that the world doesn't revolve around her. The post ended up getting a lot of attention, and a lot of people actually said my daughter and I were being entitled. Entitled for expecting A to interrupt her daughter's birthday for everyone that wants a picture. My husband also saw the post and said he couldn't believe that I would bash her for trying to spend the day with her daughter. I'm not trying to bash her for spending the day with her daughter, but she wouldn't be where she is without her fans. So I think she at least owes it to them to take a picture. Am I the jerk for making the post about A? Yes, you are the jerk. It's so clear that it's laughable. OP needs a reality check. I totally agree with the comments on this one, so let's jump straight to them, where the real lesson of the story is driven home. In response to, that girl needs to learn that the world doesn't revolve around her, someone said, kinda the lesson I'm thinking you and your daughter need to learn, to be honest. You're the jerk. Jiggy added, yeah, this is some self-aware wolves level mental gymnastics. Gleaming the Cubicle said, I understand being disappointed, but famous people are still people. 1 minute plus 1 minute plus 1 minute eventually adds up, especially on their kid's birthday. Quote, my daughter was very upset because she's been a fan of A for a very long time, so she tried again for a picture but was turned away. Isn't going to ruin her day, and if it does, that girl needs to learn that the world doesn't revolve around her. Huh. I wonder if those two thoughts can be tied together in some sort of life lesson that fits this situation. You're the jerk. Foggy Radish said, you're the jerk. Seriously, you typed all that out and still think you're right? Pig Dango added, not even my husband agrees with me. Surely Reddit will. Alcatraz added, a bunch of people on the internet already disagreed with me, but surely Reddit will have my back. Speaking of being laughed off, wait, we already did that. Could this be a theme? Let's find out in story 3. Am I the jerk for asking my husband to join us in my sister's birthday since he was in the same restaurant? I'm a 26-year-old female, and I was invited to my sister's 18th birthday a few days ago at a restaurant. My husband didn't come because he said he had a meeting dinner with some clients. This made my family feel let down, especially my sister, who wanted him there, and also her 18th birthday was a big deal to her, obviously. To my surprise, when I arrived, I noticed that my husband was having his meeting at the same place. His table was right in the corner, and he had about 4 men sitting with him. My parents and the guests saw him as well. I waved for him, and he saw me but ignored me. He obviously was as much as surprised as I was. My parents asked why he didn't even come to the table to acknowledge them after the cake arrived. I got up and walked up to his table. I stood there and said, excuse me. My husband was silent when I asked, after I introduced myself to the clients. If he'd taken a few minutes to join me and the family in candle blowing and say happy birthday, but he barely let out a phrase and said, I don't think so, I'm busy right now. I insisted, saying it'd just take a couple of minutes and that it'd mean so much to my sister. He stared at me, then stared awkwardly back at his clients. They said nothing, and he got up after my parents were motioning for me to hurry up. He sat with us while my sister blew the candles and cut the cake. My parents insisted he takes a piece and join us in the selfie, but he got up and walked back to his table looking pissed. We haven't talked till we met later at home. He was upset and started scolding me in front of my parents, saying I embarrassed him and made him look unprofessional and ruined his business meeting. I told him he overreacted, since it only took a few minutes and it was my sister's birthday. And my family wanted him to join since he was literally in the same restaurant. He called me ignorant and accused me of tampering with his work, but I responded that ignoring mine and my family's presence was unacceptable. We argued, then he started stonewalling me and refused to talk to me at all. FYI, I didn't have an issue with him missing the event, but after seeing that he was already there, then it became a different story. Also, it literally took 5 to 7 minutes. He didn't even eat nor drink, just sat down and watched. Yep, you're the jerk. This is so cringeworthy. Only 5 to 7 minutes. It probably felt like a lifetime for OP's poor husband. Gross. Let's jump to the comments that mercilessly roasted the OP so hard it locked down the post. Confident Storm said, you're the jerk. You have never had a professional job, have you? It was so important for him to be there. Why didn't you guys move the dinner celebration to another date? Upon seeing him at the same restaurant, you should have acted like you didn't even know him, since this was a business meeting with clients. Run with the little guy added, she absolutely hasn't, and neither has her family. Can you imagine the horror? Sea Rise said, you're the jerk. How are you 26? That was childish behavior I'd expect from a 6-year-old who didn't understand daddy was working and shouldn't be interrupted. No, you very much should not have interrupted his business meeting and then made him watch your sister blow out candles. Nothing says I'm an adult now like putting a birthday cake above work responsibilities. MD Thomas shared, let's make this easy. Not sure what you do for work, but let's imagine you're having a meeting with your supervisor. Your husband is coming to pick you up to give you a ride home. He sees a mutual friend across the street and starts talking to them. How would you feel if he came in, interrupted your meeting with your supervisor saying, come say hi to a friend. It'll only take a few minutes. You're the jerk. Story 4 breaks the mold on today's theme because it has OP doing all the laughing. Our story is titled, Am I the Jerk for Using Flashcards to Explain to My Brother and His Wife Why They Can't Bring Their Rainbow Baby to My Wedding? My fiance and I are getting married. We've decided wedding's going to be child free. No hate towards children, just to keep it more organized and contained. My brother Chris and his wife have a 3-year-old son who everyone calls Miracle or Rainbow Baby. He came after several failed pregnancies that lasted for years. When they found out that my nephew was included in the no children rule, they tried to convince me to make an exception for him. Chris told me his son is a miracle baby and his presence at the wedding will bring blessings for me and my fiancé. I refused and said no, the wedding is child free. His wife kept sending my fiancé pics of my nephew when he was months old. What that meant, I don't know. I told them no and to stop. My brother told me this might cause a rift in our relationship. I again said no and explained that the wedding is child free. He asked again and pointed out how his baby is different since he's a rainbow, a miracle baby. I again said no and explained that the wedding is child free. They brought it up when they visited at my home, and I knew they weren't going to stop, so I'd made flashcards in advance with the phrase, the wedding is child free, period. I pulled them out and started slowly showing them the flashcards one by one in this order. The wedding, with a sticker of a bride and groom, is child, with a sticker of a baby, free, with a sticker of a stop sign, period, with a huge black dot sticker. They both were stunned. I asked if they get it now, and Chris had lost his mind. His wife had already grabbed her stuff and walked out. Chris called me a jerk for doing this and said that I disrespected him, his wife, and their son, who's my one and only nephew. He rushed out after we argued. My fiancé saw the whole thing and thought that it was funny, but my parents and Chris are livid beyond measure. They're telling everyone about the amount of disrespect and mockery I had displayed towards them, and I'm being told to fix it now. The delivery is definitely cheeky, but OP was pushed to this extreme, not the jerk. It's interesting how nobody in the family sees Chris and his wife's actions as disrespectful, which they obviously are. Just because they don't agree with the idea of a child-free wedding doesn't give them the right to basically harass OP and his fiancée about the issue. Let it go. Hire a babysitter. Plus, if OP and his fiancée say yes to them, how do they say no to the next person that asks? It'll just snowball. Let's check out the comments where Redditors didn't mind helping to come up with more suggestions. Dipping My Toe said, well, I suppose you could have used hand puppets instead, but flashcards seem to have gotten the message across. It makes me insane how some parents think their little bundle of joy should be allowed anywhere, anywhen, anytime, and that no never applies to them. It's pretty clear they were going to run this horse right up to the altar, not the jerk. Bad Bandit added, what about puppets holding flashcards? Warren Mullaney added, look at Maria Montessori over here. Brilliant Cherry said, well, let me start by saying that you made a couple of mistakes. 1, no boombox. 2, not enough flashcards. You missed a fantastic opportunity to press play on something like the Dan Band's version of Total Eclipse of the Heart, definitely a wedding song, while flipping cards, Love Actually style. I'm thinking you could have gotten all the way to me, your rainbow baby is perfect. But you can't bring him or his rainbows to my wedding. And even if you had made it look all the while like you were going to give in and then drop the hammer with the last card, you were still not the jerk. Nope 111 said, should have told them that all babies are miracles, but that you were having a miracle-free wedding. Matterhorn added, only miracle allowed at my wedding is that you two are still invited. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.